Hey everybody,
Hey.
back again. It's Westland Bourbon Society, and we're back with a new post. We just got this bottle in. It's hot off the press. Literally came in hot today off the FedEx truck or the UPS truck. I tried to chill it down a little bit because it was hot, like physically hot. Thanks to UPS for not breaking the bottle. The box was all broken up and crazy. It is from Seal Box. Tonight we're doing the Pursuit Series. This is Pursuit Series Straight Bourbon Whisky number 24, episode number 24. Uncut, unfiltered, single barrel select. It's 15 years, bottle number 20 out of 108. It's 119.1 proof. Release date was May 2020, so it's just been released. This is the one that they talk about that's like Cocoa Puffs or chocolate milk. That's what their tasting notes are. Of course, the Pursuit Series, shout out to Kenny and Ryan Cecil, as well as Blake from Bourboner. This is your juice, so we're reviewing your juice, or your private label pick. And everybody knows me, I'm Kevin from Westland Bourbon Society, and we've got a guest with us today who's doing a little tasting with us. This is...
Hey guys, I'm Abraham Caracheo, friend of Kevin's and just a big bourbon enthusiast, so glad to be here, glad to be a part of it. Thanks for the invitation.
No problem, thank you. Yeah, I've been over his house. We had a great bourbon tasting over your house with a bunch of great people. So I invited him over and I said, hey man, I'm about to pop a bottle. Will you do a post? I actually put this on him as soon as he walked in the house. He was coming over just to drink and hang out with me. And I was like, hey, you do a post with me? And so,
hell yeah, I'm ready.
He's like, woo! So this is what we got today. I gave you some of the information on it. I'm thinking it's a Dickel product, but I'm not sure. It says it's made bottled in Tennessee.
Distilled in Tennessee, yeah. I think it's Dickel. It's funny because on the nose, and just to kind of go over what Kevin just said again, I'm going to read verbatim what the bottle says. It says, after you get done with your bowl of Cocoa Puff cereal, don't forget to drink the chocolate milk. Really, really cool. Kind of definitely on the nose to me, I'm already getting, like, seriously, like Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
Like, Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, brown box, back in the 80s, for me when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, that chocolate is definitely in there, chocolate note. It definitely has that, like, chocolatey kind of milk chocolate Cocoa Puff note.
That's very interesting.
But it is barrel strength, I think. I just
Yeah, it is.
dip my nose on it.
It's one way to do
my
it.
nose and I want it. We're dealing with these tulip glasses today, so I didn't bring out the Glencairns. We were talking upstairs, and I was like, hey, what do you want, the Glencairn or the tulip? He was like, I've never tried a tulip. I was like, let's try the tulip.
I've never drank out of a tulip before, so
Yeah, so this is the Tulip Whiskeys of the World Atlanta 2019 glass. By the way, if you've never been to Whiskeys of the World, it's the best thing in the world. Hit us up, and we usually get discounts or tickets to Whiskeys of the World. We usually do get some kind of discount through the people that do it. Andy actually lives here, the guy who does Whiskeys of the World. So shout out to him. He's a great guy. 2,500 whiskeys and you get a glass.
I think I'm ready to try it.
Okay.
I've been kind of just nosing it to kind of see what it does. You know, we just popped the bottle, so as far as kind of letting it open up a little bit since it's barrel strength.
Now one thing I noticed is it is barrel strength, right? It's not filtered, it's non-chill filtered, but completely unfiltered, period. Not even non-chill filtered. But yet, usually something at 119, 120 is gonna you're gonna get that big ethanol burn in your nose.
No, zero burn.
I don't know if it's this tulip glass or what.
I mean,
but I can't get down in there.
I'm putting my nose in the liquid almost, and I get no burn at all.
That's what I did. Got in my nose.
Which is very unusual. Very unusual. So I'm guessing it's gonna be smooth, but we'll see what happens.
Let's see. Let's take a taste.
Here we go.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
That's really good.
So, no burn in the chest, no chest feels, which is great. That's what I love. Those of you that follow me and watch what I like, I don't like that regurg burn, but full flavor in the mouth.
A lot of flavor.
Right now I'm just salivating, like I'm almost like a dog with meat powder. My whole mouth is full of water. On the back palate, I felt a sharp on the back palate, but it was really good. It was really inviting. It went down smooth. My whole mouth kind of tastes like chocolate a little bit. It's not got this chocolate note.
For me, it was funny because since the nose was so soft, from an alcohol standpoint,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that much flavor on the very front,
Right.
and I got a lot of flavor on the front. And a real warm, kind of warmth to me, like, didn't burn my throat at all, but I definitely felt a lot of warmth. And a lot of flavor, like we just said. This is excellent.
Yeah, I felt a lot of warmth, but no regurg, which
Right.
is awesome.
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah,
I
it
like.
wasn't like the burn. It
I
wasn't
didn't
like
get that chest burn, right? Yeah. Because I have a hiatal hernia. I've told people this before on there, and any of the ones that give me regurg, like like the E.H. Taylor and a Barrel Proof and certain other hotter bourbons that drink hotter like that, they really give me that afterburn, and I just can't. I can't take it. It makes me feel like I'm gonna regurg my bourbon.
Never a good sign.
Never a good sign of regurg bourbon.
I'm gonna hit it again, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of cocoa for me. A lot of cocoa.
It also has a lot of oak. I am surprised at how much oak is in this. It is 15 year, but I really love the oak. So I'm an oak fan, Abraham. And I do love the oakiness. This is actually a very, I like this profile very much. It feels like it was finished in like a port or Cabernet barrel. I get that kind of winey note to it.
No, I'm with you there. I could definitely see that. One of my favorites is the Bull Run Pinot.
That's what it reminds me of. That's exactly
It
what
has
reminds
some
me
of that kind of that finish. I get a little bit of like that winey / citrusy finish at the end after it changes from cocoa.
Yeah. But it still feels a lot more thicker, a lot more full mouthfeel than the Bull Run. The Bull Run, although it's good, it doesn't have the full thick mouthfeel that this has.
Right.
It reminds me kind of like a Henry McKenna, almost like a barrel strength Henry McKenna, or like something, real, barrel strength, or like maybe a stag with water in it, maybe. Stag.
I'm still trying to figure out where the cocoa comes from. My most recent experience with cocoa was the Woodford chocolate malt. You ever had that before? It's a rye, but it's a rye. So I thought maybe some of that cocoa was coming from that just particular rye. Maybe it has to do with the type of barrels that they use. I'm not really sure.
Well, usually anything over 100 or 110, I usually add a little bit of water just to see what it does, see if it changes the profile. As everybody knows here, when you put water in, it breaks the ester alcohols and some of the surface tension. A couple drops will just break that up. I'm not so much trying to proof it down, just enough to kind of open it up and see if it changes the.
And I like my bourbons hot, so I don't typically go for anything under 100 proof, but I agree with Kevin 100%. In fact, when he was at my house, he brought over this water. I don't know if you talked about it before, but
Kentucky limestone water.
it's very specific. You gotta keep it all in the same family, so it makes a big difference. So I'm interested to see what that does to the taste. To me, it totally changed the mid palate.
Yeah.
It totally changed the mid palate. I'm trying to think of how to describe it. I'm getting more like orange peel out of the middle.
Like burnt orange, yeah. Like a
Yeah,
burnt orange.
exactly. Like almost like the top of a creme brulee.
Yes.
Like kind of like that caramely, orangey, zesty.
And the nose has changed a little bit. It's a little more caramely.
Yeah.
I don't get as much of the cocoa. So the cocoa puffs and the dark chocolate went away with the water. So if you like that, you probably don't want to add water to it.
And even to me, even the nose itself changed, like you said. But even from the second that we poured it to the second drink, to me, I got a lot more cocoa on the nose when I first started smelling it. Maybe it's because my tongue and everything else is kind of jumped in on that, yeah. But it's definitely, this is an excellent representation. I've never had any of these before.
Yeah, so I wanted to try a bunch of them. They have one that they said tastes like what is it, like Flintstones vitamins, and that's my palate, that orange kind of
like
chalky,
that? Yeah.
So
and that's mostly represented with Dickel juice. A lot of people say that it has that vitamin taste,
right.
which for me, some people don't like it, but I like it. I like off-profile stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, we had the Flintstone vitamins at my house, and parents were always like, you gotta eat one. You can only eat one.
Right, I'd be trying to eat two.
And so I would take, like, I would remember I would sneak in and take a second one. I would literally go into a closet and eat my second Flintstone vitamin. So it was like this, defiant, like, don't do that. And, like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna grow too big on my clothes or something? Like, yeah, that was a good time.
Flintstone strong. But what's cool is we'll need to go ahead and try that. We'll need to find somebody that has. If anybody here has barrel number 19 or episode 19, it's episode, sorry. So episode 19. That's my phone here. But episode 19, if anybody has that, send me a message, inbox me. I would love to get with you and maybe trade samples, and then we can try that. Yeah, we can do a 2-ounce sample swap real quick, and then next time we'll try that and see how that is. I'm actually very impressed at what they've done. I was scared to pull the trigger on this because it was almost a $200 bottle, but I am happy I did.
I'm glad you did too.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too.
The funny thing was when you said we're gonna have to try this, I thought you meant sitting in the closet eating Flintstone vitamins.
Oh, yeah.
We can try that too. I can make that happen. I know that.
No guy still sells vitamins. With Corona now, you can't find vitamins no more. Right? Corona killed all the vitamins out. So if you had the chance to buy this, it's roughly $200 MSRP landed. Would you buy a bottle, try it at the bar first, or is it a bust?
I would say at the very least try at the bar first. $200 gets you a lot of bourbon.
Right.
It gets some phenomenal stuff out there. I'm somewhere in between. If there's is there an option for I'd buy half a bottle, I'd buy an open bottle?
Yeah.
Because if there is, then that's what I would do.
Yeah. Or split a bottle with somebody, do a bottle.
Split a bottle 100% every day of the week, no question about it. For me, it's like I said, it's a pretty competitive market at that price point.
Right.
$100 to $150 has some great bottles, and $200 is definitely, knocking on some pretty impressive stuff that you can find even on the shelf, not even allocated stuff.
Right.
But I think it's excellent. I definitely think it's, and I'm trying not to be picky. If it was $150, I think I wouldn't even think twice about it.
I think it is, but shipping and everything else.
Okay, then yeah. For me, it's a buy or a split at the very least.
Yeah, I think it was like $149 or something to buy, and then you had to ship.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's like tax tag and title, license.
Right. Tax tag, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
All in. It's sub 200.
Out the door.
Right. Out the door is sub 200. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So we'll just call it 150. That way I can rationalize in my mind.
There you go. Right. Yeah. It's
What
like
about
the
you?
price of a car, right?
Exactly. What about you? Where do you put it?
I really like it. So I've tried a lot of stuff, and this in my mind is well worth. I paid a lot more for bottles I hate a lot less. So there's a few bottles out there that I paid stupid prices for that I hate compared to this. I really like this, man.
I like it too.
And I paid $700 for a Linnell's 7-year Light Side of the Moon, okay, which is just 7-year barrel strength Henry McKenna.
Right.
It's great. Don't get me wrong, it's great, but this is better in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Or at least on par with that.
Wow.
I'm surprised because I do not like Dickel. I don't like Dickel. I don't like Jack Daniels too much. But I actually like this juice. This is, like you said, off profile. It's a little something different.
Yes.
It's got a different taste to it. It is 15 years, so everybody knows I have this 12-year crazy shit in my head, where I feel like that 12 years bourbon does something really cool. So I think at 15 years, this is right on. And to me, when I first tasted it, it gave me the cherry notes and the chocolate notes, kind of like a stag would. So instead of spending $500 secondary on a bottle of Stag, George C. Stag, I could get this, and I could get this all day probably for And I like the fact that there's not a high resale value on these. If anything, it's another $20-$50 on top of, but nothing heavy.
This isn't one for the taters. This is a
real.
real.
It's not for the taters.
Real
it's for the drinkers.
Bourbon drinker. Somebody's just gonna open it and enjoy it. I'm really interested to see what this bottle does after some time. I think that with the flavors that are in it now, once you get it down to about here, it's gonna start doing something real interesting. It's still, we just opened it. So.
Right. We're not even past the neck pour. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, exactly. So
So what would you rate this on a scale of 0 to 100? How would you?
So I immediately think of like a school teacher from like a grading system, and I've been very fortunate to have some absolutely epic bottles at stupid price points. So I'm a little bit critical when it comes to anything now. I would give it, my first instinct off the top of my head was somewhere in the B range, which on the 1 to 100 scale would be 80 to 89. But I think I would give this one a solid B plus, so something up in the upper 80s, like an 88, something like that. Is kind of I like numbers that match, so maybe like an 88 for me. But thinking that understanding that the scale from 1 to 100 could include Will and Ruella, some Dusties, some really incredible stuff. So to me, to get into the 90s is really
you have to really be up there.
Yeah, for me.
And me too. So our background again. I have different people on this show, right? People from novices to people that don't really drink bourbon to people like us that collect bourbon and have tried basically everything in the world. Right?
Well, I don't know about that, but
but we've tried a lot of good stuff. So with that being said, I'm with you on that. I would give it more of a 91 just because I do like the profile. The 15 years spikes my interest. The off profile kind of adds a little bump for me. I do like that it's hot on the mouth, but not hot on the chest. So that kind of added a little extra points to me.
Sure.
If it wasn't for those things, I probably would have been in the 80s with it.
Well, we're saying the same thing.
Right, yeah, but that just bumped it up a little bit for me is some of the good things about it. So I would give it like a 91. So 91 to 88, that's about 90. I mean, it's fantastic for something that's, of its price range. And I would definitely buy a bottle again. I'm actually thinking about if he has any left.
Having a backup?
Yeah, I bought one, but I don't have a backup now.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this is what I do. I try to hold until I get 2 bottles of something because I always want a backup.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that when you get into like the Eagle Rares and the William Ruellas because you probably want to get one of those and that'd be it. But for most of my bourbons, I like to get a backup. So if I like it, I don't feel scared to drink through it.
Right.
But I am scared that I would need a backup to this, because I could definitely drink through this. It's really good. It does have that winey, real oaky. I'm an oaky guy. So, like the 45-year-old bourbon, of course everybody's like, oh, it's got to be super oaky. Yes, it is. You know what I'm saying? It's 45 years old, right? It's been sitting in a barrel for 45 years. Yeah. It's literally bourbon concentrate, right? So, I decided to take Knob Creek 120, pour it in my glass, and I just put a dip or dab of the 45-year-old in it, and it changed it into the 45-year-old, but still kept it wet because it had that dry note to it. One thing that I do find from this is I do find that dry note. So on the back of my tongue, I get that dry note. It's not dry enough that I would add another bourbon to wet it up. Yeah. But it's right there at the cusp where it's kind of like, right. You drink Old Dusties, I drink Old Dusties. So being 2 people that drink Old Dusties, we can appreciate that. People that don't drink Old Dusties or drink younger bourbons will think, oh, that's over oaked or that's too tannic or
the tannins. Coming from the wine world, the tannins to me are one of the things that appeals to me about this because it's very balanced. It's soft. It's not doesn't give you that mouth pucker. I think this would actually go really well with food. And the idea of pairing bourbon with food is a little bit weird to some people, but when something has this kind of age on it and the flavor that is smooth without being overpowering, I think this would go great with something like fatty, like a steak or ribeye, something like that.
Yes,
it would be really fantastic.
And it's like a Stagwood, like a George Stagwood, right? Same thing. Yeah. So, all right, well that's our rating. So we got 91, 88.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. All right, drink more bourbon. Woo! Woo!